President Ernest Bai Koroma was born on 2nd October 1953, the third child but first boy of his parents. He became the joy that entered the Koroma household in the city of Makeni, in the district of Bombali. His father, Mr. Sylvanus Koroma, was quite a person in the Makeni township. He was a respected teacher who went on to serve as chairman of the Makeni Town Council. If it were in recent times, he would have been called or referred to as the mayor of Makeni. In later years, Pa Sylvanus Koroma, as he became known, was National Electoral Commissioner for the North. Ernest Bai Koroma was born by teachers, a profession he himself once practiced. His parents were also Christians who played leading roles in church. Little wonders, therefore, that President Ernest Bai Koroma, in his earliest life, was seen by his friends as someone who appeared pious, with behavioral hints of someone who may end up a clergyman. Although he seldom spoke about settling for politics in his adult life, his peers saw a leader in the making.
When we came home, we were living with him.
Sierra Leone's first gentleman is known to be not only quiet, but thoughtful and a difficult one to read or decipher.
He's a very good listener, but you cannot say exactly what he's thinking. And I think that is good of a leader.
Making others to think that he's somehow petrifying.
Such dichotomy, an aggressive listener. The man said nothing, but he made an impression by not saying anything. So when he does offer an opinion, you're sure to know that it is an unbiased opinion. I would not say it's the absolute truth, but at the end of the day, it is a situation that anybody else can live with. Yes, he's very thoughtful.
Back in the 1970s, when driving a car was quite luxurious or exotic, but prestigious for a youngster,
President Koroma was the first among us who learned how to drive,
and was often seen cruising his daddy's little car on the different routes of the Makeni township. This was later made perfect when he swapped his daddy's car for his own, becoming the first among his peers to own such a commodity, after being the first to begin fully employed.
Very social person also at the time. We envy him around. Normally he's one of the few who will have the newest brand of vehicles. I remember I had the latest Volvo then, the latest, I think it's a 929 limited edition. And even the Prado, he was amongst the first persons. So as a younger man, you look up to him as a guy you like to emulate.
Ernest Bai Koroma radiated the potentials of leadership long before he became president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. He was convinced that youth was not a synonym for playfulness, nor must he waste his spare time on unproductive activities.
But he was a very special kind of young man. While the rest of us would gallivant, the rest of us would run up and down, and he's usually very withdrawn and thoughtful about what he does and what he says.
He had a busy mind. His friends looked up to him for good counsel. They would rush his way and agree to have him adjudicate their differences because he was an independent, incorruptible, and unbiased mind.
He is a very diligent man, careful in his thoughts, takes his time to decide, and for very good reasons.
All these being the traits of a boy from a disciplined Christian home. He was trusted to hold mock courts and settle petty squabbles amongst his peers.
And I believe that that has helped him throughout life, to the extent that today he is the first gentleman of the country, and as you can see, he has transformed Sierra Leone.
Little wonders also, he almost studied law midway in his adult life. In the 1980s, the young Ernest Bai Koroma met and fell in love with Sia Nyama Koroma, the daughter of the first Sierra Leonean lawyer from the district of Kono, Abu Air Koroma. In October 1986, exactly 16 days after his 34th birthday, wedding bells rang. Their relationship was formalized at an impressive wedding ceremony at the King Memorial United Methodist Church in Freetown. Miss Sia Nyama Koroma became Mrs. Sia Nyama Koroma. Their marriage has lasted for the past 30 or more years and blessed with two lovely daughters, Alice, who was named after her paternal grandmother, and Danke, named after the grandmother on her mother's side. Not too many people knew Ernest Bai Koroma before he entered the political fray. Many encountered the shrewd businessman as an insurance broker, either with the National Insurance Company or the Reliance Insurance Trust Corporation, RITCORP. But he had been a quasi-politician before turning real. In his final years as a pupil in the prestigious Northern Middle School for Boys in Magburka, he was appointed head boy, an honor that was reserved for the most diligent, dedicated, and dependable. He would later serve as student union minister during the final months of his student years at Furabe College, the University of Sierra Leone, situated on Mount Oriel in Freetown. Many do not know whether his eyes were set on climbing the highest ladder of the land, such as being president one day. But that was not entirely ruled out by those who thought he had the attitude, or perhaps aptitude, of a universal trailblazer. His political debut was in the year 2002, when he emerged as flag bearer of the All People's Congress Party, APC. It was quite a difficult time for a party which had been overthrown a decade earlier. The APC had bounced back in 1996, looking leaner but determined. Despite the huge adversity surrounding it, the APC was able to hobble to Parliament with 4 seats in a proportional representation style election. However, by the time Sierra Leone returned to the polls in 2002, the APC had regained a huge quantity and even quality of stamina. It also had a new flag bearer, the vivacious 52-year-old Ernest Bai Koroma. The elections ended with his defeat.
It's supposed to be secret, okay?
But he did not scruple to ring up the then incumbent President Tijan Kaba with congratulatory sentiments. Many say his attempt at the presidency was quite a long but good shot. It landed him leader of the opposition in Parliament. From the left hand of the Speaker in the well of the legislature, the Honorable Ernest Bai Koroma bided his time whilst plotting a winning strategy to State House. In 2007, the Honorable Ernest Bai Koroma, leader of the opposition party in Parliament, for the second time clinched the torch to represent the All People's Congress as flag bearer, whilst also running as parliamentary candidate in his hometown constituency in the Bombali district. Despite the density of adversities that had obstructed an otherwise easy ride, his steady stride emboldened by tenacity and emblazoned with a display of temerity or even effrontery, whilst on the opposite side of power, endeared him to many. He won the admiration and confidence of a good number of his fellow partymen. It was a second shot at the presidency, and either get it or get out. By the close of polls on 11th August 2007, it was obvious that the APC would form the majority party in parliament. It had swept all the seats in the western area and its traditional northern strongholds, but the result of the presidency was too close to call.
This one, I'm confident that I'm going to win. But assuming I lose, I mean, if it goes on well, no irregularities, I stand by that.
It ended with a dead heat, and the imagination of a President Nkrumah at State House was not as far-fetched as it had been 3 months before.
These elections are elections that are very, very critical to the country, elections that are conducted when we as Sierra Leoneans are in charge of the affairs of conducting the elections, and we hope that if the support given is solidified today by ensuring that the right things happen.
As none of the presidential candidates reached 55% of the total valid votes cast, as per provisions of our Constitution, I therefore formally declare Saturday, the 8th of September, as the date for the 2007 presidential runoff.
Vice President Solomon Berewa had been upbeat about becoming president after President Ahmad Tijan Kaba, not only because he had practiced the role of president in the last 3 years of President Kaba, during which he was seen as being visibly in charge of running the affairs of state. He had also used the time to traverse the length and breadth of Sierra Leone, meeting traditional leaders such as paramount chiefs and making inroads for his huge ambition. Mr. Berewa was determined to succeed President Kaba, but so was Ernest Bai Koroma. At the heat of the run-off elections, the United Nations called on both candidates to appeal to their zealous supporters to exercise restraint. They had clashed in highly competitive areas, breaching the peace and security.
We in leadership position should say things very frankly. Speak the word of peace, non-violence, and behave that way.
What is fundamental is for us to have a credible election, an election that will be acceptable, so that at the end of the election, whoever wins will inherit a country that is united.
Polling returned on 8 September 2007, which was quite peaceful, and then the declarations were made on Monday, 17 September.
Ernest Bai Koroma has been duly elected President of the Republic of Sierra Leone.
A short while later, President Ernest Bai Koroma was sworn in at State House and inaugurated 1 month later. President Koroma rose to power amidst huge societal expectations.
I pledge to all Sierra Leoneans my commitment to bringing this nation and its people together.
He was elected at the aftermath of the Civil War, but the physical and psychological scars of the war were still visible in the sight and minds of the populace. His agenda was one of change. He marked 5 areas to effect such change. His priority areas were energy in terms of electricity and water supply, agriculture, which would bring about food sufficiency, education and infrastructural development in terms of creating good schools, new roads, and reconstructing the physically dilapidated and narrow roads that were reminiscent of colonial times. He also had an eye for health, for which the free healthcare system was created to particularly ensure that nursing mothers and children under 5 had their medical bills footed by the government. Such a turnaround, in his estimation, would do Sierra Leone proud. In the words of his ardent supporters, he soon plunged Sierra Leone into a works year.
So I'm very proud that he is my boss. He is the driver of this vehicle called Sierra Leone, which he has guided, piloted to safe destinations.
One of the most challenging tasks of President Ernest Bai Koroma over the years has been that of tackling corruption. It was for this reason that the Anti-Corruption Commission, which was created by an Act of Parliament in the year 2000, was done. Many thought that the commission was a toothless bulldog because it lacked the necessary powers to deal with those accused of corruption. And it was principally for that reason that President Ernest Bai Koroma soon capacitated it with prosecutorial powers upon his assumption of the presidency.
When we talk about the fight against corruption, the first thing you need is the political commitment and will. And I can tell you that that is coming from the president.
Today, there is a seeming resulting effect of his hard work, resulting in the return of pipe-borne water in district headquarter towns after they had become scarce necessities for decades.
So they don't have this, we don't make now, we don't grant it, because how will they suffer for water, we not suffer again.
There is an appreciable supply of electricity in district headquarters and in Freetown. And this could be seen as being much more than any time in the distant or recent past. The president is being supported in his work by a good number of lieutenants who work as ministers, directors, and managers of the different ministries, departments, and agencies. But there is also someone who do not work directly in his government, but whose job is very impacting. And that person is his wife, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Sia Nyama Koroma. The education of the girl child is her utmost priority.
As First Lady of Sierra Leone, we are encouraging men to engage in the movement and ensure we as member states facilitate national dialogues. We are building the skills and enhancing the social assets of our girls.
On 2nd October 2016, President Ernest Bai Koroma celebrated his 63rd birthday at a low-key birthday observation event, which was held at his official residence on Hill Station in Freetown. The event was attended principally by his State House staff, his immediate friends, and some ordinary citizens who felt compelled to trot to his house and to wish him a very happy birthday. A local choir later treated the president and his family to inspirational hymns and choruses.
We've come this far by faith.
8 years ago, when he became president, not too many people knew his birthday. But slowly, it has become a national event.
I don't like celebrating birthdays.
As usual.
But I suspected that I will end up having some kind of a celebration. For those people behind the scenes that have insisted that we have this, let me say thank you to all of them. And I hope that together we will enjoy the rest of the day.
This stands in stark disparity to that of the founder of the All People's Congress Party, APC, who was also first executive president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Siaka P. Stevens. His birthday, on 24th August, was quite a national event. In fact, it was on that date, in 1984, that he had launched the first set of Sierra Leone's crispy 20 Leone's notes. On 2nd October 2016, there was an avalanche of birthday wishes heaped on President Ernest Bai Koroma.
My wish for him is, firstly, for him to continue in good health and for the Lord God to give him an extension in his life.
Maybe 103. I give him another 40 years. The guy is a champion squash player in the country at 63.
It's to congratulate him for good work done in the country and wish him well. And thank God that we had a president like President Koroma. He's been a good father, he's been a good friend, and a very good mentor.
May God bless him. May God grant him all his unanswered prayers. For the blessings of Abraham to rest upon him and his generation yet unborn. In Jesus' name.
It was a day that the president had wished to spend quietly and perhaps reminisce on life's journey, surrounded by family and his actual friends.
And free. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Iti. Happy birthday to you.
The president is known to be quite quiet, but equally shrewd, conservative, and focused. Although very much a man of his people, he is not known to be a habitual birthday celebrant. What he may not have considered lately is the reality, which is that he will never again be just the ordinary citizen he once was. At 63, he has been president of Sierra Leone for the last 8 consecutive years, and 2 more to go. He is Sierra Leone's first gentleman, father of the nation, and of course the country's leading ambassador and diplomat.
But I'm sure the people I see around have always been around. And I want to thank you all, particularly Sia and the kids, for the support that they have provided during the period. And I want to thank the clergy present here and those that are not present here for the prayers that you have been offering and you continue to offer.
Important to note also is that he is one of Sierra Leone's foremost sportsmen who seldom fails to crush those with whom he plays the sports of squash. In the minds of the populace, the president is a hard-working man who seldom has time for play.
I can tell you about Castle, when you get close to the president in a working mood, you get to know he loves this country with a passion. He's dedicated to the job. He spends 80% of his time on the job.
The closest he has come to expressing his pleasure is with a broad smile, or when he plays his favorite squash. Does the president laugh? Many have asked. Does he do it loudly? They have also asked.
Smile less, talk less, but he has a piercing decision-making knife. So that is what is behind that silence that people see. It's not timidity, no, not at all. There are times when he can bang the table with his left hand.
Some people used to think he was taciturn, but he wasn't. He's just careful, cautious, and very calculating in what he says.
Meaning he wants business. So yes, he speaks when it's necessary.
The president is known to be quite a friendly person, but could also be mysterious in his ways.
As a boss and as a president, he is someone that is very methodological in what he's doing. He's serious about his job.
He's a very good person, very nice, and we enjoy his company, and I still enjoy it to this day. One thing I know about him also is that I have never, ever, apart from the squabbles that we had in the APC leadership tussle in 2001-2002, I have never seen or heard of Ernest Koroma having a dispute with anybody in his life, ever since I knew him.
President Ernest Bai Koroma is on his second and final term, and thus far, his agenda for prosperity is coming along even after the devastating effect of Ebola and its seeming knock-on effect on the mining industry, for which strict economic measures were effected in 2016 as a way of recuperating the economic mechanisms. It's not known what the president will be doing after he steps down from the presidency. He is still young and able-bodied, so that's anyone's guess. Some people say he could become a top African statesman and diplomat who could put his unique mediating skills to work on behalf of the African Union or perhaps the United Nations. Let's see what happens as he continues to work and hard for country and the world.